The most important thing for anyone in the affected area to know is that you've got to pay close attention to any instructions coming from first responders regarding the evacuation or anything else that local officials are telling you. That is for your safety, to make sure that no one is injured. And as of now, I have not seen a report of any fatalities or injuries. Again, obviously preliminary information right now, but we'll be following closely. Well, of course, the information is preliminary, but we have report of a car that had about 40 cars, 14 of them carrying hazardous material, including ethanol, which was released leading to a fire. There's an evacuation about 1 mile in each direction from the site. This is happening in a community, a small community about 100 miles west of Minneapolis. Been in touch with the governor. We have FRA personnel on the ground. EPA is headed there as well, given the hazardous material situation. The most important thing for anyone in the affected area to know is that you've got to pay close attention to any instructions coming from first responders regarding the evacuation or anything else that local officials are telling you. That is for your safety, to make sure that no one is injured. And as of now, I have not seen a report of any fatalities or injuries. Again, obviously preliminary information right now, but we'll be following closely. So the reason that we're pushing so hard on railroad safety is to make sure there are fewer of these incidents. The reason that there are fewer than there used to be in the past is regulation and enforcement, but there's still far too many, and this happens more often than I think most Americans realize. This is exactly why we have called on Congress to create tougher fines and penalties and more authorities. There's bipartisan legislation that would do just that. And in the meantime, without waiting for Congress, we as a department have stepped up safety audits, taken other steps so that we can hold railroad companies accountable. Now, the freight railroads often resist this kind of regulation and enforcement, but this is a big part of why we have far fewer derailments and accidents than we did 10, 20, or 40 years ago. It's also the path to having fewer of these accidents than we do right now. Well, I'll defer to the White House and the State Department on an official response. What we know is that this is a country that believes in freedom of the press, and we know that those kinds of First Amendment freedoms and rights that are so important to us here in the U.S. are not respected in a country like Russia. But again, obviously, as news unfolds, I know there will be more from the administration on this. No, I've been focused on the transportation side. Well, we're doing everything that we can to make sure that airlines take good care of passengers, and the interventions that we had last summer I think have made a big difference. First of all, seeing the rate of those cancellations and delays improve over the course of the summer going into Thanksgiving, and importantly, when they do happen, making sure that passengers are taken care of. You know, going into last summer, almost none of the top 10 airlines guaranteed things like meals or hotel vouchers or ground transportation or rebookings. Now nearly all of them do because of the work that we've been doing, and we're going to keep pushing. Now as we head into spring break and into the summer, I think that many of those improvements are going to pay off, but airlines are still recovering from the pandemic. We're working on things with the FAA as well, although air traffic control, I want to emphasize, is not the reason for the majority of delays and cancellations. And we're going to stay on them to make sure that they take care of customers and passengers, to make sure this year is better than last year and on into the future.